Welcome back. Shout out to any new subscribers. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Don't forget to check out the short section if you've been missing those. I've been uploading some if you're interested in checking those out. And if you enjoyed this video by the time it's over, consider subscribing. So let's get into today's topic. Ben Affleck related, Batfleck related. First of all, there have been some pictures floating around from behind the scenes of the Flash movie, which is when we most recently saw him suit up as Batman. There's some of him on the motorcycle that he has in the Flash movie. It looks like it's during the chase scene in the beginning of the film. And then there's some other shots with him and Andy Muschietti, and a scene that looks like we didn't actually see in the film. Looking at something, maybe it was supposed to be in the Batcave. I can't really tell what that is there. It's some kind of tech. I don't know exactly what he has there. But we see him, without the cowl. We kind of see the makeup and some cool shots of him in the suit, which I wasn't a huge fan of the suit choice in this movie. It actually kind of looks better behind the scenes than it does in the movie, which is usually not the case. But I think in this case, it kind of looks better behind the scenes. And for some reason, it looked strange in the movie when he was standing there. During the action, it was like okay. And it seemed like the plating served a purpose because of what was going on with, sliding on the ground and doing, fighting and all that stuff. But I did think it was kind of a weird suit choice. It does look better behind the scenes though. And I think it's always cool to see, people that you're fond of in certain roles. It's cool to see them behind the scenes and see off-camera things. Definitely going to miss him as Batman for sure. And I think a lot of fans just seeing these pictures, it's like, what could have been, It sucks. It's bittersweet to see him one last time in The Flash. When I say one last time, I'm kind of segueing into the next Batfleck topic, which has to do with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So recently I made a video where I talked about some stories coming out about reshoots with the Aquaman sequel. Now it's being said again that there have been like a third round of reshoots. This is talking about from the time that the film was done shooting in January 2022. There's a Hollywood Reporter article kind of breaking down what process the movie has gone through so far as reshoots, changing of leadership, kind of similar situation with The Flash. The Flash was kind of under 3 separate leadership teams, and Aquaman's kind of experiencing the same thing. So there's changes being made with each leadership group. There was some like unflattering test screenings with Aquaman. And so I guess when you have negative feedback to test screenings, you expect changes to be made. But 3 rounds of reshoots is pretty, that's a lot. And then, this is related to going back to Ben Affleck as Batman, because under the temporary leadership of Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy, Ben Affleck came back that's when we kind of found out, like, when we I guess we weren't supposed to know, but it kind of got leaked. And then Jason Momoa was just like, I'm going to put it out there on Instagram because people are already going to find out. Basically confirming that Ben Affleck was shooting some scenes for Aquaman 2. And it was being said that he was going to replace Michael Keaton's Batman in a certain scene in the movie. And so a lot of us, Batfleck fans were like, yes, we're good to see him again. It's not just going to be the Flash the Flash is not going to be the last time we see him. They're going to keep him around. And at that time, it seemed like they really wanted to they wanted Ben Affleck to come back and continue. Then they started shuffling around the release dates for, that's when Black Adam, The Flash, Aquaman, they all got pushed back. That's when Aquaman 2 got pushed back behind The Flash. At first it was going to come out before The Flash, going to come out in December of last year. Then it was going to come out in like March, and then it got pushed back to December of this year. So when they moved it to behind, after The Flash, and knowing we were going to see him in The Flash already, it made it seem like, oh, they do want him to stick around. But then we found out about James Gunn and Peter Safran coming in. And they announced that they were going to reboot the DC universe pretty much right after they announced who was going to be in charge. So that's when changes really started taking place. It seems now that with this third round of reshoots and making more changes to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, it's also being said that we're not going to get Ben Affleck's Batman, or Michael Keaton for that matter. I didn't really expect them to keep Michael Keaton's Batman though anyway. They didn't in The Flash either. So, but it also seems like we're not going to get Ben Affleck's scene either, according to what's being said right now. Unfortunately, I kind of felt like this was coming and that this was going to be coming out sooner or later in reports. because they didn't keep him at the end of The Flash. It seems like they don't want to include people, other characters besides the main characters. They don't want to include other characters in a way that it's going to make it seem like they're going to continue. They don't want to, you know, make promises that they can't keep, so to speak. So that's pretty much why they decided to put George Clooney of all Batman at the end of the film, because they didn't, at the end of The Flash. They didn't want anyone to expect Michael Keaton to move on. They didn't want anyone to expect Ben Affleck to move on, you know, to move forward. Michael Keaton, I didn't expect them to keep him around anyway, especially when they chose to replace him with Ben Affleck in Aquaman 2, which makes a whole lot more sense. Let's face it. That was all the old regime's doing, you know, the Michael Keaton thing. I think he was better served just having a one-off in The Flash. But Ben Affleck, it's like, that sucks, because I was really looking forward to that. If this holds true, which I think it probably, I mean, it seems likely that we're not going to get Ben Affleck's scene in Aquaman 2. And the more changes that have come about, it kind of just seemed like things were going in that direction, because they didn't want to keep him at the end of The Flash, so why would they put him in Aquaman 2? You know? Or why would they keep his scene in that movie? So I know that they're rebooting the universe. I know that. Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom is going to be the last movie from the previous universe, the previous leadership that is released. But it's like, okay, we know that you're rebooting, but we just want to see them on screen as much as possible before we don't get to see them anymore, which is why I was like, yeah, there were some problems with Ben Affleck's scenes in The Flash that could have been better. But the action was great. I was happy to see him on screen again. I liked his interaction, his conversation with Barry in front of Barry's apartment, you know, about time travel and all of that. And it was nice to hear Ben Affleck talk about his experience with that movie too. I'm glad that he had a good experience with that and that he was happy to do it and he felt good about how he felt good about his character in that movie. Why can't we just see him in Aquaman if we know that they're rebooting. We already know that. So it'd be nice to just see him on screen, you know? We're not going to see any of these people anymore. It sucks because when fans find these things out before the movies come out, it's not exactly like incentivizing. It's not going to help people be invested in the movie. Because first of all, they announced the reboot way too fast. And then, you know, between that time and the movies actually coming out, all of these changes are taking place. They're cutting out certain people so that way it's not expected for them to continue. Which I kind of understand, but at the same time, it sucks still. You know, I don't think it's ever really good for a movie when they are doing so many reshoots. But I guess in the Hollywood Reporter article, one of the issues was story clarity. After, you know, feedback from test screenings and different leadership kind of coming into place and giving their input, there has been, I guess, a consistent problem with clarity of the story. And so I guess that's one of the reasons for the reshoots. I hope that Aquaman 2 doesn't take quite as hard of a hit as The Flash did as far as theatrical run, but I'm not going to be surprised if it does. I want to go ahead and share that, keep the channel updated as much as I can. So thank you guys for watching. Check out the links in the description. I have a couple of new merch items as well in my merch shop, so you can check those out if you're interested. But thank you guys, appreciate the support, and we'll see you soon.